And now, an exclusive in the Jerry Sandusky child sex abuse scandal.
As the appeals process continues, Joe Amendola, Jerry Sandusky's lead counsel, is talking to CBS 21 News.
And he's telling us tonight what he believes went wrong leading up to Jerry Sandusky's conviction.
CBS 21's Eva Roman joins us live in the studio tonight. Amendola says Sandusky's case is the most difficult one he's ever had to prepare for. Eva calling it an impossible task.
That's right, Tanya and Rob. You know, he says from the very beginning he was set up for failure, having only 4.5 months to prepare to save a man from life in prison. In the end, Amendola failed, and there are many things, he says, he would have done differently. Joe Amendola, Jerry Sandusky's attorney, sat down with me at his office in State College to talk about what he thinks went wrong in his efforts to prove his client's alleged innocence.
Well, gee, he was convicted of 45 counts of terrible crimes. Of course there are things he would have been. I'd have to be an idiot to say no. But you know, hindsight's always 20/20, and you're dealt the hand you're dealt with.
The number one hurdle, Amendola says, was something he had no control over, the amount of time he spent preparing for the trial. Because the judge denied a continuance several times, he had only 4.5 months to get ready.
We'd have to break it down, and the only way to do that is to go through it page by page.
On top of that, the boxes of evidence he had to go through were stacking up, and stacking up quickly.
All of this information was flooding into us, which we were trying to decipher, to come up with other ways to show that these accusers might well be lying, which is what Jerry was saying. And we were cut off at the pass.
It's not fair, Amendola says, especially since the lawyers for the other two Penn State officials charged with lying about what they knew have a lot more time to get ready for their trials.
And then you look at Gary Schultz, and you look at Tim Curley over a year later, and still no date now, because I'm sure the January 2013 date is going by the wayside. The preliminary hearing's not even scheduled until next month, the 13th of December, I think. And you look at their case with 2 charges, one of which is the equivalent of a traffic ticket. It doesn't look right.
Something else that didn't look right, Amendola says, was the interview with Bob Costas.
Completely innocent and falsely accused in every aspect?
Well, I could say that, you know, I have done some of those things.
Looking back, Amendola wishes he would have handled that differently.
Obviously, Monday morning quarterbacking is always great.
You should have been coached a little bit?
Well, not only coached a little bit, but I think I would have said to Bob Costas, look, here's what we're going to do. We're going to ask, here are the questions that you're permitted to ask Jerry. And Jerry would have known the answer, because the answer was simple: I'm innocent.
Going back even more, Amendola wonders if he was even the right guy for the job.
The longer I stayed in, the harder it got for me to say maybe I want to get out. I kept thinking somebody else was going to jump in, maybe some nationally high-profile attorney. And
Amendola stayed, working with a small team. He says he did the best he could, but he's not giving up on Sandusky, who still proclaims he's innocent.
Even though he's been convicted, do you feel like he's innocent?
Oh, I think, based upon what I know, if I had been a juror, I would have had a reasonable doubt.
I also asked Amendola if he wishes he would have allowed Sandusky to testify at trial. Amendola says, we'll never know, but looking back, we wouldn't have had anything to lose by Jerry testifying. Rob, Tanya?
All right. 21's Eva Roman has more tonight. She's live with her exclusive report with the York County Mobile Newsroom in Fairview Township. Eva?
Rob and Tanya, I got my hands on the termination letter from Fairview Township officials to Hockenberry. Nowhere in it does it say that they fired him because of the photo. Instead, they say they let him go because of alleged misconduct at work. This picture shows former Fairview Township Police Chief Scott Hockenberry posing with a topless woman at a bike fest in Maryland in September.
A lot of people seeing the photo with the woman topless, they just kind of want to know, what were you thinking?
I'm talking to her husband, who's to the left of me, but she's short, so I was leaning down talking to her. Well, I turned back around and I was kind of leaning back against whatever I was on, but I leaned back to talk to her, and my buddy's like, "Hey, smile," and I just looked up at him, like, because he'd been taking pictures all week, and he takes a picture, and I look over, I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
Hockenberry ordered his friend to delete the photo, and he thought that's what he did. About a week later, one of the Fairview Township board members asked him about it. Then about 2 months later, Hockenberry received this letter telling him that Fairview Township board members fired him because of misconduct during a criminal case at work. But his lawyer says if you look through the paperwork on the case the board is citing, Hockenberry didn't do anything wrong.
I couldn't believe I was being terminated for doing my job. I mean, that is part of the job of any police officer. And if you're the top police officer in the department, you certainly have obligations to the community.
With a 9-year-old son to support, Hockenberry is now unemployed. And this 18-year veteran of the Fairview Township Police Force isn't really even sure why.
The whole thing saddens me. I mean, I put 18 years in. I moved up through the ranks in the department. It's not like they brought me from outside. It's not like they, you know, I thought was in pretty high regard with the township.
I asked Hockenberry if he would ever want his job back. He declined to comment. His lawyer tells me that he is investigating the actions of these board members. Live with the York County Mobile Newsroom in Fairview Township tonight, Eva Roman, CBS 21 News.